50 people. 50 elegant guests at my daughter-in-law's charity dinner. All of them eating the lasagna I made, and within 3 minutes, every single one of them was spitting it into napkins, running for water, and gagging at the table because I'd made it so salty it was completely inedible. On purpose. I'm 62 years old, and I've been cooking for my family for over 40 years. I learned from my mother, who learned from her mother. I've made thousands of meals, hosted hundreds of dinners, fed my family with love and skill for decades, and my daughter-in-law Ashley told me I couldn't cook. Not just once, constantly. For 3 years, she'd been criticizing every dish I made. Too basic, not sophisticated, old-fashioned, lacks technique. Ashley is 29 years old and runs a food blog with about 30,000 followers. She posts pictures of restaurant meals and calls herself a culinary influencer. She's never cooked a meal from scratch in her life. But because she has Instagram followers, she thinks she's an expert. When she called me in a panic, begging me to make lasagna for her big charity dinner because her catering fell through, I saw my opportunity. I made that lasagna exactly the way she'd been treating me for 3 years. With absolutely no respect, I added so much salt that it was physically impossible to eat. And I didn't tell her. She served it to 50 guests, important people, donors, her influencer friends, people she was trying to impress, and they all spit it out in front of everyone. Before I tell you what happened when Ashley realized I'd sabotaged her on purpose, and trust me, the confrontation was explosive. I want to hear from you. What city are you watching from right now? Drop your city in the comments below. I want to know where my story is reaching, and if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We share new stories like this every single day, real family drama, real consequences, real lessons. You don't want to miss what happens next. My name is Marlene Jenkins. This is my story. I grew up in a home where the kitchen was the heart of everything. My mother was an incredible cook. Sunday dinners at our house were legendary in our neighborhood. She taught me everything: how to season by taste, how to know when dough is ready, how to make gravy without lumps. By the time I was 20, I could make a full Thanksgiving dinner from scratch. By 30, I was the one everyone asked to bring dishes to family gatherings. By 40, I'd mastered recipes passed down through 4 generations of our family. Cooking wasn't just something I did. It was how I showed love, how I brought people together, how I kept my family connected to our history. I married my husband Richard when I was 23. We had one son, Brandon, 2 years later. Richard worked long hours as an accountant, and I worked part-time as a receptionist while raising Brandon. But my real pride was always my kitchen, my table, my ability to feed the people I loved. Richard died 8 years ago from cancer. The last meal I ever cooked for him was his favorite, my mother's pot roast recipe with roasted vegetables and homemade rolls. He ate every bite, even though he could barely keep food down by then. After he died, cooking became even more important to me. It was my connection to him, to my mother, to everything that mattered. Brandon grew up eating my food. He knew every recipe. His favorite was my lasagna, layers of homemade pasta, 3 kinds of cheese, my special meat sauce that simmered for 4 hours. He'd eat half a pan by himself when he came home from college. When he brought Ashley home for the first time 3 years ago, I was excited. My son was in love. I wanted to welcome her into our family the way my mother had welcomed Richard, with a beautiful home-cooked meal. I made that lasagna for her first dinner with us. The one Brandon loved, the one that had been requested at every family gathering for 20 years. Ashley took 1 bite and said, "It's very heavy. Do you use full-fat cheese?" "I usually only eat part skim." I smiled, thinking she was being health-conscious. "Yes, full-fat. It's traditional." I'm more into lighter modern preparations. But it's sweet that you stick to old recipes. Sweet. Like I was some grandmother making food from a bygone era that nobody wanted anymore. Brandon jumped in. "Mom's lasagna is the best, babe. Everyone loves it." Ashley smiled at him. "Of course. It's just different from what I'm used to." That was the first hint of what was coming. Brandon and Ashley got married a year later. Small ceremony, nice reception. I offered to make the rehearsal dinner. Ashley politely declined. "We're doing a catered tasting menu." Very contemporary cuisine. But thank you. After the wedding, Ashley started a food blog. She called it Atlanta Eats with Ashley. She'd go to trendy restaurants, take photos of plates, write reviews. Her following grew, 10,000 followers, then 20,000, then 30,000. And the more followers she got, the more she positioned herself as an expert. Every family dinner became an opportunity for her to critique my cooking. Marlene, did you know that oversalting is actually a sign of declining taste buds in older people? You might want to have your sodium levels checked. This chicken is a little dry. Have you considered brining? It's a technique professional chefs use. The presentation is very home style. Instagram has really changed how we think about plating. My son would sometimes try to intervene. Mom's food is great, Ash. You don't have to analyze everything. But Ashley would laugh. I'm just trying to help. Cooking is evolving. Marlene's style is very 1980s. Nothing wrong with that, but there are better methods now. Better methods. As if 40 years of feeding my family with love was somehow inferior to her restaurant photos and Instagram captions. The worst part? She never cooked, not once. When they hosted dinners, everything came from restaurants or meal delivery kits. But she'd present it like she'd made it herself, posting photos with captions like, "Cozy night in with homemade carbonara." Homemade. From a box. With instructions, but she had 30,000 followers, so clearly she knew more about food than I did. 6 months ago, things got worse. We were at a family barbecue at my sister's house. I'd brought my potato salad, another family recipe, one I'd been making for 35 years. Everyone always requested it. Ashley took a bite and made a face. She pulled Brandon aside, but I overheard. "Babe, your mom's potato salad is really not good. It's so mayo-heavy and basic. Can we just tell people we're not eating it?" "I don't want a photo of this on anyone's social media." Brandon looked uncomfortable. "Ash, everyone loves mom's potato salad. Everyone's just being polite. Trust me, I know food." I stood there, holding my empty bowl, and felt something inside me crack. She didn't just dislike my food. She was embarrassed by it. By me. 3 months ago, Brandon and Ashley announced they were pregnant. The whole family was thrilled. I was going to be a grandmother. Ashley immediately started planning everything with the same meticulous attention she gave her Instagram posts. Gender reveal party, maternity photo shoot, nursery design. Everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be post-worthy. She also announced she was chairing a charity dinner for a local nonprofit that helped underprivileged kids. It was a big deal. 50 guests, including major donors, local influencers, and some minor celebrities. The kind of event that could really boost her profile. "This is huge for my brand," she told Brandon at a family dinner. "If I pull this off, I could get actual sponsorships. Real money, not just free restaurant meals." She'd been planning it for months. Catering from an upscale restaurant, professional photographer, custom printed menus, everything designed to look impressive on social media and impress the donors. The dinner was scheduled for a Saturday night. 3 days before, on Wednesday afternoon, my phone rang. It was Ashley. Her voice was panicked. "Marlene, I need your help. I'm desperate. I put down the book I was reading." "What's wrong?" "The catering company just canceled. The chef had a family emergency and they can't fulfill the order. The dinner is in 3 days. 50 people. I've called every other caterer in Atlanta and no one can take a job this last minute. I'm going to have to cancel the whole event." She sounded like she was crying. "I'm so sorry, Ashley." "That's terrible. I don't know what to do. I've already sent the invitations. People have RSVP'd. Donors are coming. If I cancel now, I look completely unprofessional. This could ruin everything." There was a long pause. Then she said something I never thought I'd hear. "Could you help me?" "Help you how?" "Could you cook for the dinner? I know it's a lot to ask, and I know your food is more home-style than what I was planning, but I'm out of options. I just need something edible to serve. Nothing fancy, just basic food that will fill people up. Basic food. Nothing fancy, just something edible. 3 years of insults. 3 years of being told my cooking was outdated, unsophisticated, amateur. And now, when she was desperate, my basic food was suddenly good enough. "Please, Marlene, I'm begging you. I'll pay for all the ingredients. I just need something I can serve. Maybe your lasagna? People can eat lasagna. It's not gourmet, but it'll work. It's not gourmet, but it'll work. I felt anger rising in my chest. Hot and sharp. How many people? I asked calmly. 50. I know that's a lot. If you can't do it, I understand. I just don't know where else to turn. 50 people. 3 days to prepare. She was asking me to save her event. The event that was so important for her brand. After years of telling me I couldn't cook. I can do it, I said. Really? Oh my God, Marlene, thank you so much. You're a lifesaver. I'll send you money for ingredients. Just make a few big pans of lasagna. Nothing complicated. Keep it simple and traditional. My guests aren't really into fancy food anyway. Keep it simple, traditional. Like that was an insult, not a compliment. Don't worry, I said. I'll make something they'll never forget. Thank you. Seriously. I know my food standards are high, but honestly, people will just be happy to have something to eat. You don't need to stress about impressing anyone. I don't need to stress about impressing anyone. After we hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, staring at nothing. She'd spent 3 years making me feel like my cooking was inferior, embarrassing, amateur, old-fashioned, and worthless, and now she wanted me to save her event. With that same cooking, I thought about my mother, about the recipes she'd taught me, about 40 years of feeding people with love and care and skill, and I thought about Ashley serving my food to 50 people while taking credit for putting together the meal. Posting photos, getting praise, building her brand. On the back of my basic cooking, something inside me snapped. I was going to make that lasagna. I was going to make it exactly the way she'd asked. Traditional and simple, but I was going to add one special ingredient. Something that would make sure everyone at that dinner remembered the food. Something that would teach Ashley a lesson she'd never forget. The next morning, I went to the grocery store and bought everything I needed. Fresh pasta sheets, 3 kinds of cheese, ground beef and Italian sausage, tomatoes, herbs, garlic, everything for my mother's traditional lasagna recipe, and I bought salt. A lot of salt. I spent Friday cooking. I made 4 massive pans of lasagna, enough to feed 50 people with seconds. I made them perfectly. Layers of pasta, rich meat sauce, creamy ricotta mixture, melted mozzarella, and parmesan. Exactly the way my mother taught me. And then, when everything was assembled and ready to bake, I added the salt. Not a normal amount. Not a reasonable amount, an obscene amount. I sprinkled it between every layer. I mixed it into the cheese. I added it to the sauce. I calculated that each serving would contain approximately 5 times the amount of salt a human could comfortably eat. It would be inedible. Completely, utterly inedible, but it would look beautiful. Perfectly browned and bubbling. Restaurant-quality presentation. Ashley would serve it with pride, and then everyone would taste it. I baked the lasagnas, let them cool, and wrapped them carefully. I loaded them into my car Saturday morning and drove them to the event venue, a trendy loft space downtown that Ashley had rented. She met me at the door, glowing with relief. Marlene, you're an angel. These look amazing. She didn't taste them, didn't check them. Just thanked me, paid me for the ingredients, and rushed off to finish decorating. I left, drove home, and waited. The dinner started at 7 p.m. I knew this because Ashley had posted about it endlessly on Instagram. Photos of the venue setup, the table decorations, the custom menu cards. By 6:30, I was sitting in my living room, phone in hand, waiting. I didn't have to wait long. Ashley's Instagram stories started at 7:15. Photos of guests arriving, well-dressed people holding wine glasses, the kind of crowd she'd been so desperate to impress. 7:30. A story showing the tables. Everything looked elegant. White tablecloths, fresh flowers, candles. Professional and sophisticated. 7:45. A photo of the lasagna being brought out on serving platters. It looked perfect, golden brown, bubbling, exactly the way it should look. Ashley had added garnish, fresh basil leaves on top, making it look like something from a restaurant. The caption read, "Family recipe lasagna made with love for tonight's special guests." Family recipe. Made with love. She was taking credit for it. Of course she was. 8 p.m. The guests were being served. I could see plates being filled in the background of someone else's Instagram story that Ashley had reposted. Everyone seated, looking happy and expectant. And then the stories stopped. For 15 minutes, nothing. No posts, no updates. I stared at my phone, my heart pounding. Then my phone rang. "Brandon?" I answered. "Hello? Mom." His voice was strange, tight. "What did you do?" "What do you mean?" "The lasagna. What did you put in it?" "The usual ingredients. Why?" "Mom, please tell me you didn't do something to that food." My stomach dropped. "What happened?" Everyone spit it out. All 50 people. They took one bite and couldn't eat it. Ashley is having a complete breakdown. The dinner is ruined. People are leaving. "What did you do?" "I made lasagna. The recipe I've used for 40 years. This isn't funny. Did you sabotage it on purpose?" I didn't answer. "Oh my God, you did. You actually sabotaged Ashley's event. I can't believe you." "I have to go." He hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand, feeling a mixture of satisfaction and growing dread. 10 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. Text messages. From my sister. From Brandon again. From my niece, who'd been at the dinner. My niece sent a video. I opened it with shaking hands. The video showed the dinner table. 50 people, all dressed elegantly, sitting at their places with plates of my lasagna in front of them. You could hear Ashley's voice off camera. "Everyone, please enjoy. This is a traditional family recipe that's very special to us." The video showed people taking their first bites, and then, almost in unison, the reactions started, faces contorting, eyes widening, people grabbing their napkins, some people actually spitting food back onto their plates, others jumping up to find water. Someone yelled, "What is in this?" "It's pure salt." Another voice, "I can't eat this." "Is this a joke?" The camera swung around to show Ashley's face. She looked confused, then took a bite herself. Her expression changed instantly. Horror, absolute horror. She spit the food into her napkin and ran off camera. The video ended. I watched it 3 times, feeling sick. What had I done? This wasn't funny. This wasn't justice. This was 50 people having their evening ruined. Donors who'd come to support a children's charity. People who'd done nothing wrong except show up to an event. My phone rang again. "Ashley, this time," I answered. "How could you?" She was crying. "How could you do this to me?" "Ashley, you ruined everything." "Do you understand that?" "Everything. The entire event was a disaster. People left. The donors were insulted. Someone actually asked if I was trying to poison them. My reputation is destroyed. Everyone thinks I'm incompetent. How could you?" "You've spent 3 years telling me my cooking is worthless," I said quietly. "You called me old-fashioned and basic. You said my food was embarrassing. And then you begged me to save your event with that same cooking. So you decided to humiliate me in front of 50 people, to sabotage food for a charity event? For children? Do you realize how selfish that is?" She was right. She was absolutely right. "I didn't think about the other people," I said. "I only thought about you." "Well, congratulations. You got me. Everyone at that dinner thinks I'm a joke. My followers are messaging me asking what happened. Someone already posted a video online. It's going viral. People are laughing at me, calling me a fraud, saying I can't even organize a basic dinner. I'm sorry." "Sorry? You destroyed my reputation on purpose and you're sorry?" "I'm pregnant, Marlene. I'm stressed and exhausted and trying to build something for my future, for my child's future. And you decided your hurt feelings were more important than all of that." She was crying harder now. "I don't ever want to see you again. Don't call me. Don't call Brandon. Don't come to our house. You're not welcome in our lives anymore. And when this baby is born, you're not going to be part of their life either. I won't let someone this vindictive and cruel near my child." She hung up. I sat in my empty house, in the silence, and realized what I'd done. I'd gotten my revenge. But the cost was going to be far higher than I'd imagined. By Sunday morning, the video had been viewed over 100,000 times. Someone at the dinner had posted it to TikTok with the caption, "Food influencer serves inedible food at charity event." It had spread from there to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Everyone was sharing it, laughing at it, commenting on it. The comments were brutal. "She calls herself a food expert and serves this?" Those poor guests paid money for a charity event and got fed salt. This is what happens when Instagram influencers pretend to know about food. Ashley's name was attached to it. Her Instagram handle, her blog, everything she'd built was being torn apart by strangers on the internet, and it was my fault. My sister called me at 8 a.m. Marlene, what were you thinking? I wasn't. I was angry and I wasn't thinking. That girl is 29 years old and pregnant. You're 62. You're supposed to be the mature one. And you sabotaged a charity event?
For children?
I know. Do you? Because Brandon called me last night crying. Crying, Marlene. He said you've destroyed his marriage. Ashley won't stop crying. She's having panic attacks. The stress isn't good for the baby. I felt sick. I didn't think about the baby. You didn't think about anything except your own hurt feelings. Yes, Ashley was rude to you. Yes, she was condescending. But you took it to a level that's unforgivable. You didn't just embarrass her. You humiliated 50 innocent people. You ruined a charity fundraiser. You made strangers on the internet mock a pregnant woman. I'll apologize. I'll fix it. How? How do you fix this? The video is everywhere. Ashley's reputation is destroyed. Even if you confess that you did it on purpose, that makes it worse. Then everyone knows she was sabotaged by her own mother-in-law. That's even more humiliating. She was right. There was no way to fix this. Brandon doesn't want to talk to you, my sister continued. He said you're not welcome at their house. He's furious. He can't believe his own mother would do something this cruel. After we hung up, I looked at my phone. 43 text messages, most from family members. None of them supportive. My brother, you should be ashamed. My niece, I can't believe you did that. Those people were so nice, and you ruined their whole evening. My cousin, Ashley might be annoying, but she didn't deserve that. Even my best friend sent a message. I heard what happened. I don't know what to say. That was really wrong. I opened Instagram and looked at Ashley's account. She'd posted a statement. To everyone asking about last night's event, I take full responsibility for what happened. The food served was completely unacceptable, and I'm horrified that my guests had that experience. I've personally reached out to apologize to everyone who attended and have made donations to the charity on behalf of each guest. I'm deeply sorry and embarrassed. I'm taking a break from social media to reflect on how I can do better. She was taking responsibility for something I did. The comments on her post were mixed. Some people were kind. Everyone makes mistakes. Don't be too hard on yourself. Others were cruel. Maybe stop pretending to be a food expert when you clearly aren't. This is what happens when influencers get too big for their britches. You should be embarrassed. That was pathetic. She was being destroyed online, and she didn't even know it wasn't her fault. I thought about calling Brandon to confess, to tell him I'd done it on purpose, that Ashley wasn't to blame, but that would only make it worse. Then he'd know his mother had deliberately sabotaged his pregnant wife, that I'd put revenge above his happiness, above his marriage, above his future child. Monday morning, I drove to Brandon and Ashley's house. I needed to see them, to apologize in person, to try to fix something, anything. Brandon's car was in the driveway. I knocked on the door. He opened it. His face was cold. What are you doing here? I need to talk to you. Both of you. Ashley doesn't want to see you. Please. 5 minutes. He stared at me for a long moment. You have 2 minutes. On the porch? Ashley's not coming out. I stayed on the porch. He stepped outside and closed the door behind him. I'm sorry, I said. I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. A mistake? Mom, that wasn't a mistake. You've been cooking for 40 years. You don't accidentally make food inedible unless you do it on purpose. I couldn't lie to him. You're right. His face changed. Oh my God, you did do it on purpose. I was angry. She'd been insulting my cooking for 3 years, and then she asked me to save her event with that same cooking. I wanted her to be embarrassed. I wanted her to understand how it felt, but I didn't think about the other people. I didn't think about what it would really mean. You didn't think about my wife, my pregnant wife. You didn't think about the fact that she's carrying your grandchild and stress is dangerous for pregnant women. You didn't think about the charity. You didn't think about me and how this would affect my marriage. You only thought about yourself. I know. And I'm sorry. I'll do anything to fix this. There's nothing to fix, Mom. It's done. Ashley's a mess. She's been crying for 2 days. Her doctor told her she needs to reduce stress or it could affect the pregnancy. And you want to know what the worst part is? I waited. She thinks it's her fault. She thinks she messed up the recipe or bought bad ingredients. She's blaming herself. And I can't tell her the truth because if I tell her that my own mother sabotaged her on purpose, it'll destroy her even more. Let me talk to her. Let me apologize. No, you've done enough damage. I want you to leave and I don't want you to contact us again. Not until after the baby is born. Maybe not even then. I need time to figure out if I can forgive this. Brandon, please, go home. Mom. He went inside and closed the door. I stood on that porch and cried. For 3 months, I heard nothing from Brandon or Ashley. I sent text messages, apologies, requests to talk. All ignored, I called. Brandon would answer occasionally, his voice cold and distant. Mom, I told you. We need space. Stop calling. I just want to know how Ashley's doing. How the baby is? They're fine. I'll let you know when we're ready to talk. Then he'd hang up. I tried reaching out to Ashley directly. Her phone number was blocked. Her Instagram had blocked me too. I was completely cut off. My sister would give me updates when I begged. Ashley's doing okay. The pregnancy is progressing normally. Brandon is stressed but managing. Does she know the truth? That I did it on purpose? Brandon hasn't told her. He thinks it would make things worse. But Marlene, you need to understand something. Even if they forgive you eventually, this changed everything. You're not going to have the relationship with your grandchild that you imagined. She was right. I'd destroyed that before the baby was even born. The online mockery of Ashley continued for weeks. The video kept being reposted, remade into memes, referenced in comments on her other posts. Her follower count dropped from 30,000 to 18,000. Brands that had been considering partnerships disappeared. She'd stopped posting entirely. Her last post was still that apology. Her profile silent. I did something I swore I'd never do. I created a fake Instagram account and left a comment on that apology post. This wasn't your fault. You were sabotaged by someone who should have protected you. I hope you find peace. I don't know if she ever saw it. 4 months after the dinner, Brandon sent me a text. Ashley's having a baby shower. Just close friends and family. You're not invited. I wanted you to know so you wouldn't hear about it from someone else and show up. I wrote back, I understand. Please tell Ashley I'm thinking of her and wishing her well. He didn't respond. I spent that Saturday, the day of the baby shower I wasn't invited to, looking at old photos of Brandon as a baby. Of me holding him, of our family dinners over the years, of all the moments I'd never get with my grandchild. 6 months after the dinner, Brandon called me. Ashley went into labor this morning. We're at the hospital. I wanted you to know. Is she okay? She's doing great. I have to go. Brandon, wait. Can I come? I don't have to see her. I could wait in the waiting room. Just to be there when the baby arrives. There was a long pause. No, Mom, I'm sorry. That's not a good idea. He hung up. 12 hours later, I received a text with a photo. A baby girl. Perfect and tiny and beautiful. My granddaughter, her name is Olivia Marie, 7 pounds 3 ounces. Everyone is healthy. I stared at that photo for an hour, crying, looking at this beautiful child I might never hold. I wrote back, she's perfect. Congratulations to both of you. I love you all so much. No response. For the next 2 months, Brandon would send occasional photos. Olivia sleeping. Olivia in a onesie. Olivia with Ashley. Each one like a knife in my heart. I was a grandmother. But I wasn't a grandmother. I existed in some strange limbo where my grandchild was real but unreachable. I sent gifts. They were returned. Please respect our boundaries, written on a note. I sent cards. No acknowledgement. I showed up at their house once, 8 weeks after Olivia was born. Just to try. To see if enough time had passed, Ashley answered the door with Olivia in her arms. When she saw me, her face went cold. You need to leave. Ashley, please. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you and I know it was unforgivable, but please let me meet her. Let me apologize properly. I don't want your apology. I don't want anything from you. You sabotaged me on purpose. Brandon told me everything. My heart sank. When? 2 weeks ago. After Olivia was born. He couldn't keep lying to me anymore. He told me you salted the food intentionally, that you wanted to humiliate me. I'm so sorry. I was angry and hurt, and I made a terrible choice. But you never meant for it to go viral? You never meant for me to be mocked by thousands of strangers? You never meant for the stress to potentially harm my pregnancy? What exactly didn't you mean? I didn't think about the consequences. I only thought about hurting you back, and you succeeded. You hurt me more than you could possibly understand. Do you know what those months were like? Being pregnant and watching people laugh at me online? Watching my business collapse? Watching everything I'd built be destroyed? I know. And I've regretted it every single day since. Good. You should. But your regret doesn't fix anything. It doesn't undo what you did. And it doesn't mean I have to forgive you or let you near my daughter. Olivia started to fuss. Ashley adjusted her, bouncing gently. That dinner was important to me, Ashley continued, her voice softer now but still cold. It wasn't just about my blog or my brand. That charity helps kids who don't have enough to eat. And you ruined their fundraiser because your feelings were hurt. That's who you are. That's the grandmother you'd be to Olivia. Someone who puts revenge above everything else. That's not who I am. I made one terrible mistake. One mistake that affected 50 people. One mistake that you planned and executed deliberately. That's not a mistake, Marlene. That's your character. After that conversation at the door, I didn't try to contact them again for 3 months. Ashley was right. My regret didn't fix anything. My apologies meant nothing because my actions had said everything. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Williams, a woman in her 50s who'd worked with families for 20 years. Why did you do it? She asked in our first session. I was angry. She'd been insulting me for years. And you wanted her to feel what you felt. Yes. Did it work? I thought about that video, about Ashley's face, about 50 people spitting out food, about Brandon crying, about a granddaughter I'd never held. No, it made everything worse. Revenge usually does. Because when you hurt someone to make yourself feel better, you're operating from the same place of pain that caused the problem in the first place. You don't heal pain by spreading it. Over the next months, Dr. Williams helped me understand something I'd been avoiding. Ashley's criticisms had hurt so much because I'd tied my entire identity to being a good cook, to feeding people, to being needed and appreciated in that specific way. When Ashley dismissed my cooking, I felt like she was dismissing me, my value, my place in the family. But your worth isn't determined by whether someone likes your lasagna, Dr. Williams said. You're valuable because you're you, not because of what you provide. It was a hard lesson, one I should have learned decades ago. I also had to face something uncomfortable. Ashley had been rude and condescending, yes, but she'd been 26 years old when she met Brandon. Young and insecure and trying to establish herself. Her criticisms came from a place of wanting to seem knowledgeable, wanting to impress her new family. She'd been obnoxious. But she'd been human, and I'd responded to her immaturity with something far worse. You can't control whether they forgive you, Dr. Williams said. You can only control whether you become someone worthy of forgiveness. So I worked on that. I volunteered at a food bank, using my cooking skills to feed people who actually needed it. I took an anger management class. I joined a support group for grandparents estranged from their families. I learned I wasn't alone. There were dozens of us, grandparents who'd made mistakes, said hurtful things, crossed boundaries, and lost access to grandchildren because of it. Some of them were angry. My daughter is too sensitive. I have a right to see my grandkids. Others were resigned. I messed up bad. I don't blame them for keeping me away. I fell into the second category. 1 year after Olivia's birth, I sent Brandon a letter. Not asking for anything, not requesting contact, just an honest accounting. Dear Brandon, I've spent the last year thinking about what I did and why I did it. I've been in therapy. I've been working on understanding myself better. I want you to know that I understand now what I couldn't see before. What I did wasn't about Ashley serving bad food to guests. It was about me deliberately hurting her because I felt hurt. It was vindictive and cruel, and there's no excuse for it. I hurt 50 innocent people because I was angry at one person. I potentially endangered Ashley's pregnancy because my pride was wounded. I risked your marriage and your happiness because I couldn't handle criticism. That's not who I want to be. And I'm working every day to become someone better. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect to be part of Olivia's life. I know I destroyed that opportunity, but I want you to know that I'm sorry, truly deeply sorry. And I understand if you never want to speak to me again. I love you. I'm proud of the man you are and the father you've become. I wish I'd been a better mother to you and a better person in general. Mom, I mailed it and didn't expect a response. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Brandon, I got your letter. Okay, it meant something. That you didn't ask for anything. That you're actually working on yourself. I am. Not because I think it'll fix things with you and Ashley, but because I need to. Ashley read it too. I showed it to her. My heart jumped. What did she say? She said it was a good letter. She said she appreciated the honesty. But she's not ready to see you. And she might never be. I understand. But I am. Ready to see you, I mean. Not regularly. Not like before. But maybe coffee. Once a month. Just you and me. If you want, I started crying. I'd like that very much. I need you to understand something, Mom. This doesn't mean everything is okay. This doesn't mean you get to come to family events or meet Olivia. This is just coffee. Just us rebuilding something, slowly. I understand. And if you ever do something like that, again, if you ever hurt Ashley or try to interfere in our lives, we're done, permanently. I won't, I promise. We met for coffee the following Saturday. It was awkward at first. We talked about surface things. His job, my volunteer work, the weather. Then he said, "Can I ask you something?" Anything. Do you understand why what you did was so much worse than Ashley's comments about your cooking? I think so, but I'd like to hear your perspective. Ashley was rude. She was condescending and insulting, but she never tried to hurt you. She was just being thoughtless. What you did was calculated. You spent time planning how to humiliate her. That's a completely different thing. He was right. Also, he continued, you're 62. She was 26 when you met her. You're supposed to be the adult, the mature one. Instead, you acted like a spiteful teenager. I know, and you didn't just hurt Ashley. You hurt me. You put me in an impossible position. How do I support my wife while still loving my mother? How do I protect my family while not completely cutting you out of my life? I never thought about that. That's the problem. You didn't think about anyone but yourself. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm trying to be better, I said finally. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I'm trying. I can see that, and that matters. For 6 months, Brandon and I met for coffee once a month. Just the two of us, an hour each time, rebuilding something that I'd almost destroyed completely. He showed me photos of Olivia, growing, smiling, hitting milestones. She started crawling last week. She's beautiful. Brandon, she looks like you, actually. Same eyes. That made me cry every time. I never asked to see her, never pushed, never requested updates beyond what he voluntarily shared. I'd learned my lesson about pushing boundaries. How's Ashley doing? I'd ask, better. She started posting again. Smaller audience, but more authentic. She's been taking cooking classes, actually, real ones, at a culinary school. That's wonderful. She said your letter made her think. Made her realize she'd been pretending to know things she didn't actually know. So now she's learning for real. It was strange. My terrible action had somehow pushed Ashley to become more genuine. It didn't make what I did okay, but it was something. 8 months after our first coffee, Brandon called me on a Tuesday. Are you free this Saturday afternoon? Yes, why? Ashley wants to talk to you. At our house, just talk. Not a reconciliation. Not forgiveness. Just a conversation. My hands started shaking. Okay, what time? 2 p.m. and Mom, don't expect too much. This isn't a happy reunion. She just has things she needs to say to you. Saturday at 2 p.m. I knocked on their door. Brandon answered. His face was neutral. Come in. Ashley's in the living room. I walked in and saw her sitting on the couch. Olivia was napping upstairs. The house was quiet. Ashley looked different. Thinner. More tired. But also stronger somehow. Thank you for seeing me, I said. Sit down. I sat in the chair across from her. Brandon stood near the door, like a referee. I want to tell you what that night did to me, Ashley said. Her voice was calm but firm. Not to make you feel guilty. You already know you should feel guilty. But because I need you to understand. I'm listening. After the video went viral, I had panic attacks every day for 2 months. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was 7 months pregnant and my doctor was worried about my blood pressure. I thought I was going to lose the baby. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of her words. Every time I saw a notification on my phone, I'd panic. Because I knew it was someone else mocking me. Someone else making jokes about the influencer who poisoned her guests. Do you know what that feels like? To be a joke to thousands of strangers? No, I'm so sorry. I lost my confidence. I thought maybe everyone was right. Maybe I was a fraud. Maybe I didn't know anything about food. Maybe I'd been fooling myself for years. You weren't a fraud. I know that now. But at the time, your sabotage confirmed every insecure thought I'd ever had about myself. You didn't just ruin a dinner. You confirmed my worst fears about who I was. Brandon shifted uncomfortably. Ashley continued. I blame myself. For months, I thought I'd messed something up, that I'd bought bad ingredients or miscalculated something. I obsessed over it, went over every step 100 times trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. I should have told you the truth right away. Yes, you should have. Instead, I spent months thinking I'd failed until Brandon finally told me that you'd done it on purpose. And you know what? That was almost worse, because then I had to process the fact that my husband's mother hated me enough to do that. I didn't hate you. Then what was it? I took a breath. Pride, insecurity. You made me feel like the thing I'd built my identity around, my cooking, my ability to feed my family, was worthless. And instead of dealing with those feelings like an adult, I lashed out like a child. You made me feel worthless too. For years, every time you criticized my cooking, Ashley looked startled. I didn't mean to. I know you didn't. That's what I've learned in therapy. You were young and insecure and trying to establish yourself. You wanted to seem knowledgeable. You weren't trying to hurt me. But I was hurt anyway, and instead of talking to you about it, I destroyed you. We sat in silence for a moment. I was condescending, Ashley said quietly. I can see that now. I was so focused on proving I knew about food that I dismissed your actual experience and skill. That was wrong. It was. But what I did in response was so much worse. Yes, it was. She looked at me directly. I'm not going to forgive you. Not yet, maybe not ever. I'm not saying that to be cruel. I'm saying it because I need you to understand that forgiveness isn't something you've earned or deserve. It's something I might choose to give on my timeline, if and when I'm ready. I understand. But I am willing to try something. Brandon wants Olivia to know her grandmother, and I don't want my hurt to take that away from her. So we're going to try supervised visits, once a month, here at our house, with both of us present, for 1 hour. I started crying. Thank you. Thank you so much. This isn't for you. This is for Olivia. And for Brandon. And if you ever, and I mean ever, cross a boundary, try to manipulate, talk badly about me, or do anything remotely vindictive, this ends immediately. Do you understand? I understand. I promise. Don't promise. Just do it. The first visit lasted exactly 1 hour. I sat on their couch and held Olivia while Ashley watched me like a hawk. The baby was 18 months old. She didn't know me. I was a stranger, but I got to hold her, to see her smile, to hear her laugh when I made funny faces. When the hour was up, Ashley took her back. Same time next month. I left that house and cried in my car for 20 minutes. Grateful tears, relieved tears. I'd been given a chance I didn't deserve. Over the next year, those monthly visits continued. Olivia started recognizing me, smiling when I arrived, eventually calling me Gamma in her toddler voice. Ashley never warmed up to me. She was polite but distant, cordial but never friendly. I understood. Some things you can't come back from. Some trust, once broken, stays broken. But she let me see Olivia, and that was more than I deserved. Brandon and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. Coffee once a month became dinner once a month. We talked more openly. About everything. Do you think Ashley will ever forgive me? I asked him once. I don't know, Mom. Does it matter? I'd like her to. But I understand if she doesn't. That's growth. A year ago, you would have pushed for forgiveness. Demanded it. Now you understand that some consequences are permanent. He was right. Some consequences are permanent. I never got invited to holidays. Never got included in family events. Never became the grandmother I'd imagined I'd be, but I got 1 hour a month. 1 hour to hold my granddaughter, to read her stories, to be present in her life in whatever small way they'd allow. 2 years after the dinner disaster, Ashley started a YouTube channel. Cooking tutorials, but honest ones. Learning to cook with Ashley. She'd show her mistakes, her failures, her learning process. It became successful. More successful than her old Instagram had been, because it was real. She never mentioned me in her content, never told the story of what happened. But once, in a video, she said something that made me think of that night. Cooking isn't about perfection. It's about connection. And when we use food as a weapon, whether to show off or to hurt someone, we lose sight of what really matters. I wondered if that was meant for me. If she'd processed what happened by thinking about how we'd both misused food. Her as a tool for status, me as a tool for revenge. 3 years after the disaster, I finally got invited to Olivia's 3rd birthday party, not as an honored guest, but as someone allowed to attend. I brought a simple gift, a stuffed animal. Nothing extravagant. Ashley greeted me at the door. Thank you for coming and for respecting our boundaries these past few years. Thank you for giving me a chance I didn't deserve. She nodded. Not quite forgiveness, but maybe the beginning of moving forward. I'm 65 years old now. My relationship with my son is rebuilt but different. My relationship with my daughter-in-law is polite, but will probably never be warm. My relationship with my granddaughter is limited but precious, all because of one night. One decision, one act of revenge that I thought would make me feel better, but instead cost me nearly everything. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. That's the stupidest question I've ever heard. Of course I regret it. Every single day I regret that. 50 innocent people had their evening ruined because of my hurt feelings. I regret that a pregnant woman spent months being mocked online because I wanted revenge. I regret that my son cried because his mother put pride above his happiness. I regret that I missed the first year of my granddaughter's life because I couldn't control my anger. I regret all of it. If I could go back to that day when Ashley called asking for help, I'd make the lasagna perfectly. I'd serve it with grace. I'd take the high road, but I can't go back. None of us can. We only move forward with the consequences of our choices. My name is Marlene Jenkins. I'm a grandmother who almost lost everything because I couldn't handle criticism, who chose revenge over relationship, who learned the hardest way possible that winning a battle doesn't matter if you lose the war. If you're watching this and thinking about getting revenge on someone who hurt you, I'm begging you, don't. It's not worth it. Whatever temporary satisfaction you get will be destroyed by the permanent consequences. Talk to them. Walk away. Set boundaries. Get therapy. Do literally anything except deliberately hurt them back, because revenge doesn't heal your pain. It multiplies it, and by the time you realize that, it's too late. What city are you watching from? Have you ever done something in anger that you regretted? Have you learned lessons the hard way like I did? Share your story in the comments. Maybe your story will help someone else avoid making the same mistakes. If this is your first time here, subscribe and turn on notifications. We share stories like this every day. Real people, real mistakes, real consequences. Remember, pride is expensive, revenge is costly, and family is irreplaceable. Don't learn that lesson the way I did. Take care of yourselves. Be better than I was.